Today we will learn how to build your first AI agent/bot for non-technical people, for more business-oriented. I guess if you're a business owner or a project manager and you want just to start and kick in the development to build the initial version, to iterate through the most problematic part in all of the development. And the most problematic part in development is the prompt. So if you can validate somehow the prompt before the development starts, before you do a handover for developers, you will probably save a lot of time for the business. So my name is Dmitro from LLMix. And this is what you see is n8n, and you can think of n8n as let's say a Lego builder or a building blocks where you don't really need to know exactly how they're doing it, and it's more of abstraction. Of course, there is a lot of technical points which you need to learn, and you can also watch a video on the getting started, but we will concentrate this time more on the writing the agent/bot in this case. And of course, first thing you will need is an n8n. You can watch a video on how to start with n8n quick before maybe even your company has one. You can already start by as little as $5, I think, per month to going locally hosted, but there are some drawbacks which you might. So you can watch a video, of course, and you will need to have this open, so the n8n UI, and yeah, we will start from scratch, and what you will get is this view. Main thing, keep here if you're working with many other people, is you need proper name. So let's what I'm doing usually is, let's say, marketing. You put the area or the subdomain, let's say like this, right? And then AI communication bot. We can name it, I guess, like this. You can also put tags, marketing, so when you are searching for something, you can filter it out. It will help for other people. And that's, let's say, main thing to know about the naming. Of course, you have the left side, not really important. Nothing here is that much important. On the right side, you have the enabling for production use, which we don't really need right now. So you can kind of skip temporary. One more important thing I would say is the settings. And not in all of the cases, but it can be useful, the time zone. So by default, it's always New York. And if you're, let's say, in Germany, I would put Berlin, because all the time will be oriented around it. And if you do some calculation with time, of course, it might be a problem. So just save it. Yeah, so now we kind of ready to start with a bot, and we will go through how to run it in a second. So all of the n8n workflows consist of, let's say, kind of three things. So you can also watch for each of them the onboarding and getting started videos on a channel. But first one will be a trigger. Second one is processing and getting the information. And third one would be a output. And the first thing, of course, we need is a trigger. And in our case, of course, you can click on the first step, or you have this plus on the top right. Both of them will work fine, but you can always start with the first step, which will be, of course, a trigger. And what we can use for your first version is more than enough is to use a on chat message. So there is special on chat message node or a trigger, so it will open up the whole window, and there is not really much that you need to put inside. It's just, yeah, when chat message is received, and that's kind of it. So this will be already, you will see that it's already enabling the test workflow at the bottom here, with which you can, of course, the chat one on the right, where you can already start writing a message. And of course, nothing will happen, no response, because of course we don't have anything yet. So this is a good start, and this was exactly first step, is to establish a communication, right? So establish a way to write the messages so that you can do something with them and put an output. As I said, so we can remove this thing. As I said, it's a building blocks. So you have here a plus sign that you can add something on top. So, and a good example, so when you will be building a bot or an agent or something that will communicate with a person, if we take a marketing or any other field, most likely you will need a context about the person. And it can get a lot more trickier, a lot more technical, let's say. So one way is you can pass some information and then query something like Salesforce or whatever, like your Jira, you track something, right? So where you store the information, maybe a database, which might get a lot more technical. For this specific reason, what you can do, and this will also save time the developer, for developers itself, is define a mock of the data, which would be with set fields or edit fields, such specific information. Here we can switch to actual manual mapping is more than enough. So you have two options: define a JSON where you will specify a key value. If you have some technical background, you can use it. Otherwise, just use manual mapping, and then you will click here and you can write, for example, first name. You can put whatever naming. Of course, you should not have a space. Actually, you can have spaces, but better to keep it this way. And then we can put Metro, let's say. So, of course, this is static data, but this is more than enough for the first version, right? And let's say we are developing a scooter rental, right? So we have a scooter rental, and then we have, for example, are currently in ride, let's say, right? So we can have such information that we'll get from somewhere. Once it's a real bot, we can get this information from external systems. You will give it to developers and they will figure it out. But for first version, we can always like mock this data, right? And we can say like true. So they're currently in ride, and then scooter ID will be, I don't know, VH1234, right? And then scooter unlock code would be 567 So we have this information that in real world we of course will get from somewhere, and yeah, this is it. So a really important question: was it saved? What we just did, was it saved to this flow? And the answer is no. So this data is not yet saved, and if you refresh or close the browser, it will not be saved. There are a few ways to do it. Is from this view, you can also do a Control-S or Command-S to save it, and you will see like a notification. Possibly in my case, it will be behind my window. I will put myself a bit higher for a second. Let's see. So I will not do it this way, but this is one way, right? You can do Command-S. And another way is you can click back to canvas here on the top left, sorry. This will save the data from the node, but it will not save the workflow. So the workflow, as you can see on the top right, is still not saved. So when this button is orange or you're trying to close the window, it will give you a pop-up. What you need to do is click the save, or as I said, Command-S or Control-S, and you will see, well, in this case it was not really visible, but I think if we change something here, yeah, you will see on the top bottom, if you click Command-S, that workflow changes were saved. That's most important information. So we have a way to communicate, we have the edit fields, and now we can start defining a bot itself. The way to do it is, of course, you will just, here is advanced AI, for example, and we have AI agent, and this is 99% of use cases will be AI agent. Of course, you can look at the templates, not really important, so this we will skip for now. We're going from the basics, right? So the other ways is like simplified information extractor, many different, but all what you can theoretically do with AI agent. So, and yeah, it automatically pops up. Let's close it for a second. By the way, not only you can click back to canvas, you can also click on an empty gray area outside of this like view, and we will see this new tool, right? We have a chat model, you have a memory, and we have a tool. So we'll need to connect them. And let's start with a chat model. So we go to chat model, and you can pick, of course, whatever your company, sorry, I will move myself back. You can pick whatever company is using. In my case, I will be using OpenAI chat model. I have an account. You will probably not have, so we will need to, unless it's a company n8n, which was already defined the account. So what you can do is you will have probably this window, create new credentials, and here you'll need the API key, optionally the organization ID, and then you just save it. And same thing, good practice is put like marketing, whatever. So I will not save it. I don't need the new account. So, but you will get the OpenAI account, and of course, then we can pick, for example, GPT 4.1, right? And so you can pick the model. A good practice for chatbots is, of course, depending on complexity of them, of AI agents, but for chatbots, mostly is default models as a 4.1, or let's say if we speak about Cloud Sonnet 4 and higher, 3.7 actually will also work. Do not pick the expensive Opus, for example, or GPT-5 is not really that expensive. We can also use this, but some models can be quite expensive. So let's keep for now 4.1, not a problem. And there is many different things that you might want to modify. Temperature is one which you can play around because depending on the temperature, the answers will be different. The higher it is, the more chances that the bot will be more creative. And I spotted it many times that, especially with communication with people, if you have really strict prompt how to do something, it might be really problematic to guide it to specific answers with the higher the temperature. So I think we ended up using 0.4, 0.3, somewhere there. So it was still flexible, but not too much. But this is it. So pick your model. Don't pick the super expensive, pick the most balanced. And in our case, so model is there, nice. We can also save it. Practice to save more often, because if there is some outage or something, it's always good to save it as much as possible, not to lose anything. So yeah, we have the message, we have the fields. Let's add a memory. And in this case, we can go with a simple memory. I think this is window buffered memory. This is something new. Stores an n8n memory. Yeah, so we'll just use this. Context window length, I can put how many past interactions. We can put like 100. And so this is here. We have this data. And then tools, I would say, depending on your situation, maybe you might want to have them. In most cases, for a start, you don't really need. One example of a tool could be a calendar, or search inside your own data, or something like this, like a next appointment, closest parking location, something like this, right? So this is more already advanced that developers can work on, and we just keep it as is, right? So for now, tools are not really needed. So now we have OpenAI chat model, save again, the window buffer memory, and then we go into the AI agent itself. And this is really not important. You have like different types of agents. So I would say tools agents is by default enough. You can also pick the conversation agent, which will not really change much, but whatever. Tools agent, we keep the default one. And the next point is on how you interact with it, right? So there is not really a prompt, or you have taken from previous node automatically. And you can do this, or you can define below. And let's now look quickly into how the n8n is working. So when we send a message, right, you saw this green dots. So we actually can, let's keep it now, take from previous node, let's save it. and I will open again the chat test, right? So here you go, like when chat message received, I did fields, and yeah, nothing happened, right? But you can see the green stuff, right? And what you can do with it is you can open the node and you can see the output, which is really important thing. You can see the session ID, you can see the actions and message, and then chat input. So you can inspect every node, what happened, what was the input, and what was the output. So here's our output. I would suggest to use a JSON. It's a lot more readable, and you can also see different nodes. So the way it works, so now if we go into AI agent, you can see the input from previous places, right? And when chat message received, edit fields. So this is the, you know, the previous nodes, and you can get, so the way it works is you can, whatever happened before, you can use this data inside the next block. So inside the AI agent basically means that we can use the fields and then the message itself. And if we can open here and we can define below, so we will manually define. And what we can do is we can go to when chat message received and then chat input. So you can just do drag and drop. So you want to give this text, boom. It of course the code. You can theoretically, let's say, skip this part for now. Main thing that you know that you can inject the data, and the injections of this data from previous places looks with this double curly brackets. And then there is JavaScript code that basically references, okay, from this when chat message received. So this is exactly from our first node. We take an item in JSON format, and then we take the chat input. So this field specifically. So, but it's kind of the same as defining take from previous node automatically, but we can, yeah. So you can also preview the data, or you can open it like this and see what is the, so you can also put, for example, message. This is not a good example, but message and then the injection. So everything that will pass to the AI will have this message prefix, but we don't really need it. So now we have a super simple version. We see the error, right? So no session ID found in a sub node. So you can see here a red. That means that take from previous node automatically did not work. And it makes sense because we had an edit fields. So what we need to do is we need to add a key. We can add an expression, and then we can take a when chat message received. We have here a session ID generated. So we can put this as a key, and this should work quite well. So now we can save again, or Command S, and we actually can try to make it work. So we open a chat. By the way, there was this garbage icon that you can clean up the history. So let's see, test. We hit the test. Please connect at least one tool. Sorry, yeah, that was my mistake. It's new version, so we need a conversational agent. We don't really need a tool. So now we can save it, and let's try again. So we can click a garbage chat test, and what we should see, yeah, hello. It looks like you wrote test. How can I help you today? So it actually worked. From here, that was more than enough. What's missing, right? So what is missing? This is purely basic. There is nothing happens special. So what we will do now is we can actually inject this information about the person into the AI and tell actually what this AI will do. So there are two important prompts. This prompt that we have here, it's a message. So the way AI agents or AI works in general, you have a admin context. Actually, what's the name of it? It's the system message. You have the system message that is like root for everything, and then you have a conversation that's going back and forth. And this prompt is a conversation. So this is a message from a user that you're receiving or you're writing. Then there is answers. And this system message is the most important to steer the user. You can also skip the system message and theoretically just use the prompt and write the whole thing here. Then you should have external memory. This gets a bit more complex. We will skip it. For you, the best is prompt, here is a message from a user, and this is where you steer the agent. So we are going here. Yeah, you have here human message theoretically, but this is the best way to interpret it. So this text is the prompt, and then system message is this. So what we can do now, system message is where you get all of the dynamic information about the user, what's their name, like currently in ride, scooter unlock code, stuff like this, right? That you want to communicate. So you don't need to put it every time into this prompt, but you know, so we can define some prompt. I will define some prompt and we'll get back to you. So here's my prompt. You are a scooter rental assistant agent. Your task is to help user have smooth ride and help to mitigate any upcoming issues. Be respectful with a missing L, acknowledge any problems and be positive. This is not really a good prompt, and a good prompt will be a really long, I mean, not super long, but it will be quite big. It will cover many use cases, prompt injections, defense mechanisms, and many things. But yeah, this is the definition. I will now switch to expression here, and I will open up this thing here. So this like small thing on the side, it will just open up more flexibility. And now you will see how you can inject the information about the user into the prompt, the same way we did with previous one. So we can say name, and you can just drag and drop this information. Is currently in ride, and we can also inject this information. And then scooter ID, oops, that didn't work. And then, oops, and then scooter unlock code, for example, right? So you can drag it this way. You can also do it, if I'm not wrong, by giving this, you will need to do a bit differently. So you'll need to get a JSON and it will inject the whole thing from the previous item, or you can just remove this part. But I think this should be more than enough. All right, looks good. So we will save it. And now we have actually an agent that will communicate. So I will remove it. I will click a chat. And now, hello, scooter doesn't unlock. The code doesn't work. Let's say like this, right? So now we can click and we will get the information. Thank you for letting me know, Dmitro. I'm sorry to hear blah, blah, blah. Unlocking scooter with code 5678. Please double check that. Yeah, so I'll do my best to help. So now you can see that we injected the information, right? You have even it used the am I currently in a ride? It uses the information and injects this information. Yeah, you're currently in a ride with scooter. Yeah, so of course this is not, let's save it again. This is not the real world agent, right? It will not really communicate with real users, but it's a good start where you can start implementing. And again, maybe 60 to 70 to 80% of this whole bot AI communication agents is the prompt. So this part, the system message, is the most critical part that you will need, that we need to define. And especially for business, like development, in some cases it can be super quick, but the most important thing is the prompt, and you really need to cover a lot of different cases so that real customers will not complain about it. And yeah, so many different things to consider. And this is where now you can start defining the prompt in details. And once you're happy with different scenarios, like how it works, how it doesn't work, then you can say, okay, looks like it's good. So then let's move to the next point where it will be already development, and you can hand over to developers to build it, and everyone will be a lot happier than when the development will start and then the bot doesn't behave this good way. And yeah, so yeah, this is actually more than enough for you to start. I don't think we need any additional items. you have everything and the responses coming back. You can test it and you can just update the agent itself. Hope this will be helpful, and there will be more videos on this topic, so please subscribe. All right, thanks for watching. I see you in the next one.